First Contact's Illusion. Admiral Kenna Zhao stood at the bridge of the ESS Nightingale, her weathered hands clasped behind her back, as she watched the alien vessel approach through the holographic display. The ship was beautiful in its own way, all sweeping crystalline spires and pulsing energy conduits that made it look more like a floating cathedral than a warship. The Sarkians had always favored form over function, at least as far as they allowed others to see. "They're scanning us again, Admiral," Lieutenant Commander Rivera reported from his station, trying to suppress a smile. "Should we let them see past the outer hull this time?" "No," Zhao replied, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of human preparation. "Let them see exactly what they expect to see. What are they broadcasting to their home fleet?" Rivera's fingers danced across his neural interface, intercepting and decoding the alien transmissions with ease. "They're reporting that we're primitive, but surprisingly resilient. Apparently, our quaint chemical engines are admirably efficient for their technological level." A quiet chuckle rippled through the bridge crew. The Nightingale's true propulsion system hadn't used chemicals for anything more than maneuvering thrusters in over a century. But the Sarkians were seeing exactly what humanity had spent generations carefully crafting: the image of a species just taking its first stumbling steps into the cosmic ocean. "Status of Project Masquerade?" Zhao asked, her dark eyes fixed on the approaching alien vessel. "All systems nominal," Chief Engineer Dr. Sarah Chen replied from her station. "The quantum camouflage is holding perfectly. They're seeing exactly what the historical records say a human ship should look like in the year 2157, complete with visible welding seams, external power conduits, and radiation leakage from our primitive fission reactors." The reality, of course, was very different. The ESS Nightingale was humanity's newest deep space diplomatic vessel, a marvel of engineering that incorporated technologies that most species wouldn't discover for another 1,000 years. Its hull was composed of self-repairing metamaterials that could alter their fundamental properties on demand. Its power core tapped directly into the quantum foam of space itself, and its computational systems made use of temporal recursion to solve problems before they even arose. But none of that showed on the surface. To the watching Sarkians, the Nightingale appeared to be exactly what humanity wanted them to see: a primitive but sturdy vessel, built by a young species still finding its way among the stars. "They're hailing us," Communications Officer Lai announced. "Standard first contact protocols." Zhao nodded, straightening her deliberately old-fashioned uniform. "Put them through. And remember, everyone, we're new to this. We're excited, a little nervous, but proud of our accomplishments. We've just achieved faster-than-light travel, and this is our first encounter with an alien civilization." The holographic display shifted, revealing a tall, crystalline being whose form seemed to shimmer with internal light. Its features were arranged in what humans had long ago learned was the Sarkian equivalent of a condescending smile. "Greetings, vessels of Earth," the being spoke, its words automatically translated by systems far more sophisticated than the ones they were pretending to use. "I am High Commander Vexthor of the Sarkian Stellar Authority. We have been watching your species' development with great interest." "High Commander," Zhao replied, allowing a carefully calculated mix of awe and pride to color her voice. "I am Admiral Kenna Zhao of the Earth Space Service. We were honored to make your acquaintance. This is a historic moment for humanity." The Sarkians' crystalline form shifted in what their intelligence suggested was amusement. "Indeed it is, Admiral. We have observed your species' remarkable progress. To achieve faster-than-light travel with such limited resources is quite impressive." Zhao saw Rivera bite his lip to keep from laughing. The human fleet had mastered transportation technologies that made traditional FTL travel look like a horse and buggy. But that was knowledge they'd kept hidden for over 3 centuries, ever since they'd first detected the Sarkian observation posts at the edge of their solar system. "Thank you, High Commander," Zhao replied. "We've worked hard to reach the stars. There's so much we hope to learn from more advanced civilizations like yours." Of course, Vex Thor said, radiating patronizing benevolence. The Sarkian Stellar Authority will be happy to guide your species' development. Perhaps in a few centuries, you might even be ready for provisional membership in our alliance. Zhao kept her diplomatic smile firmly in place, even as she thought about the vast human civilization that already spanned thousands of worlds across multiple galaxies, hidden behind veils of technology so advanced it might as well be magic to the Sarkians. She thought about the real reason humanity maintained this elaborate charade, not out of fear or deception, but out of a deep understanding of how species and civilizations developed. That would be an honor, High Commander, she said. We look forward to learning from your wisdom. As the conversation continued, filled with diplomatic niceties and carefully crafted half-truths, Zhao couldn't help but reflect on the irony of it all. The Sarkians thought they were dealing with a primitive species, making its first steps into a larger universe. In reality, they were participating in humanity's greatest ongoing experiment, a study in civilization development and the effects of technological superiority on cultural evolution. The deception would continue, carefully maintained by technologies so advanced they could rewrite the very laws of physics on a local level. And somewhere, in the vast hidden networks of human space, scientists would continue to observe and record, learning valuable lessons about how civilizations grew and evolved when left to develop at their own pace. It was, Zhao reflected, perhaps the greatest gift humanity could give to their galactic neighbors, the chance to find their own path to the stars, free from the crushing weight of knowing just how far they had yet to go. The veil lifts. High Commander Vex Thor's crystalline form pulsed with agitation as he reviewed the sensor logs for the 12th time. Something wasn't adding up about these humans, and it had taken the combined processing power of 3 quantum arrays to finally understand why. Play it again, he commanded, his voice creating ripples in the crystalline chamber of the Sarkian Science Council. The holographic display illuminated, showing the human vessel ESS Nightingale during what should have been a routine diplomatic exchange. There, Chief Scientist Zarl pointed, her crystalline appendages creating complex patterns of light. Watch the background radiation patterns during their ship's course correction. The assembled council members observed as the seemingly primitive human vessel made a minor navigational adjustment. To the naked eye, it looked exactly like what one would expect from a species just mastering spaceflight. Crude but functional. But the underlying data told a different story. The laws of physics don't work that way, Zarl continued, her form flickering with excitement and concern. Their ship's movement, it's too perfect. There's no gravitational wake, no quantum displacement, not even minimal space-time distortion. It's as if they're not really there, Vex Thor finished, his crystalline structure darkening with realization. Or rather, as if what we're seeing isn't what's actually there. The implications were staggering. The Sarkian Stellar Authority had prided itself on being one of the most advanced civilizations in known space. Their mastery of crystalline technology and quantum mechanics had given them unprecedented understanding of the universe's fundamental forces. Yet here was evidence that humans, supposedly primitive humans, had somehow developed technology that could fool even their most sophisticated sensors. We need to know more, Council Elder Krivik announced, their ancient form casting prismatic patterns across the chamber. Send a detailed investigation fleet. If the humans are hiding their true capabilities, we must understand why. Vex Thor felt an unfamiliar sensation. Doubt. With respect, Elder, if they can fool our sensors so completely, what makes you think an investigation fleet would discover anything they don't want us to see? The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. If humans could maintain such a perfect deception in plain sight, what else were they capable of? The answer came sooner than any of them expected, as if responding to their very thoughts. Every quantum sensor in the chamber suddenly activated. The space around their homeworld lit up with signatures that hadn't been there moments before, or perhaps had always been there. Hidden behind veils of technology, they were only now beginning to comprehend. Multiple contacts. The sensor operator's crystalline form pulsed with alarm. They're everywhere. Thousands of them. No, millions. An entire civilization's worth of infrastructure just appearing. The holographic display transformed, showing the true extent of human presence in space. Where before there had appeared to be nothing but empty void, now there were stations, waypoints, and vessels of configurations that defied Sarkian understanding of physics. Some seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, others appeared to bend space itself around them. Incoming transmission. The communications officer announced, their voice carrying harmonics of awe and fear. It's from Admiral Zhao. The human admiral's image appeared in the chamber, and Vexthor noticed something different about her bearing. Gone was the carefully measured mix of pride and deference. In its place was something else. Not arrogance or superiority, but rather a deep, patient wisdom. "High Commander," Zhao greeted him, her voice carrying the same warmth, but none of the artificial uncertainty from their previous encounter. "I believe it's time we had a more honest conversation about humanity's role in the galaxy." "Why?" Vexthor managed to ask, his crystalline form vibrating with a complex mix of emotions. Why maintain such an elaborate deception? Zhao's expression softened. "Because true understanding can't be gifted, it must be earned. 3 centuries ago, when we first detected your observation posts, we had a choice to make. We could reveal ourselves as we were, risking the psychological and sociological damage that such a revelation might cause to developing civilizations. Or we could watch, wait, and learn." "Learn what?" Zariel asked, scientific curiosity overcoming her shock. "How civilizations develop naturally," Zhao replied. "How societies handle technological advancement when they believe they're among the most advanced species in known space. What paths different species take when they're free to evolve without the shadow of an overwhelmingly superior civilization looming over them." The chamber erupted in discussions, crystalline forms shifting and pulsing with a cascade of reactions. Vexthor found himself reevaluating every interaction, every assumption they'd made about their place in the cosmic hierarchy. "And now?" he asked. "Why reveal yourselves now?" "Because you're ready," Zhao answered simply. "Your civilization has reached a crucial junction point. The questions you're asking about us, about the nature of reality and perception, about the limitations of your understanding, they show a maturity that suggests you're prepared for what comes next." "Which is?" "A choice," Zhao said, her eyes showing the weight of centuries. "You can join us in our great experiment, helping to guide and study the development of younger civilizations. Or you can continue on your own path, with the knowledge that there are heights of technological achievement you haven't yet imagined." As the Sarkian Council grappled with this revelation, Vexthor realized that everything they thought they knew about their place in the universe had been based on incomplete information. The humans hadn't just fooled their sensors, they had challenged their entire understanding of what was possible. And somewhere, in the vast hidden networks of human space, another data point was being added to humanity's greatest ongoing experiment: how civilizations react when they discover they're not as advanced as they thought they were. Project Legacy. Deep within the quantum-shielded chambers of Earth's legacy archive, Dr. Marcus Chen stood before the assembled Council of Observation, preparing to deliver his 3-century impact report on Project Legacy. The room itself was a marvel of human engineering, existing partially outside normal spacetime, to ensure absolute security and privacy. Project Legacy began in 2157 CE. Marcus began, his voice carrying across the chamber as historical holograms materialized around him. "When humanity first achieved quantum consciousness and discovered we weren't alone in the galaxy, we faced an unprecedented choice. The holograms showed Earth's first detection of alien observation posts, crystalline structures that the Sarkians thought were perfectly hidden. Even then, human technology had far surpassed what anyone else in known space had achieved. Our ancestors could have revealed themselves immediately," Marcus continued, gesturing to the next set of projections. simulations showing thousands of possible outcomes, but their models predicted catastrophic cultural collapse in 83% of scenarios, where a younger civilization was suddenly confronted with an overwhelmingly advanced one. Admiral Zhao, recently returned from the Sarkian revelation, leaned forward in her seat. And now we're about to test those models in real time. Marcus nodded, bringing up new data streams. The Sarkians' initial reaction is following our predicted patterns almost exactly. Their scientific community is in ferment, their philosophical institutions are in crisis, but their societal structures are holding. They're proving remarkably resilient. As we hoped they would be, commented Dr. Sarah Chen, now chief of xenoanthropology. That's why we chose this moment for revelation. Their civilization has reached the critical threshold of self-awareness about their own limitations. The chamber filled with real-time data from across Sarkian space, communications, energy signatures, social metrics, all carefully gathered by monitoring systems that had been in place for centuries. Every piece of technology the Sarkians thought they had invented independently had been subtly guided by human influence, preparing them for this moment. What most fascinates me, Marcus continued, is how they're handling the revelation about the other civilizations under our observation. The knowledge that they're not alone in being. Well, not alone. The holograms shifted to show other species, other worlds, dozens of civilizations at various stages of development, all being carefully monitored by humanity. Some were just discovering fire, others were reaching for their first stars, and a select few were approaching the same threshold the Sarkians had just crossed. We've maintained the masquerade for 300 years, Admiral Zhao noted, her eyes scanning the data, presenting different faces to different civilizations, always appearing to be just a few steps ahead of them. Technologically, never revealing our true capabilities. The scope of this project is staggering. And necessary, Marcus added firmly. Look at our own history. Look at what happened to Earth's civilizations when they encountered vastly superior technological societies. The cultural damage, the loss of identity, the destruction of unique developmental paths. We couldn't let that happen on a galactic scale. The room darkened as he brought up the next set of projections, the future scenarios they were now navigating. The Sarkians have a choice to make. Join us in stewarding the galaxy's development, or continue on their own path. Either way, it'll be our first test case for a controlled revelation of the truth. And if they choose to join us, someone asked from the shadows of the chamber. Then we begin Phase 2, Marcus replied, bringing up new simulations. We show them how to maintain the masquerade, how to appear appropriately advanced to younger civilizations, while hiding their true capabilities. They'll join humanity as silent guardians of natural technological and cultural development. Admiral Zhao stood, her uniform shifting subtly as quantum particles realigned themselves. There's something poetic about it, isn't it? The greatest achievement of human civilization isn't our technology, but our restraint in using it. Our greatest legacy might be that we've learned from our own history, learned how to guide without dominating, how to teach without destroying. Assuming the models hold, Marcus cautioned, but there was hope in his voice. The next few years will be crucial. The Sarkians' choice will tell us whether 3 centuries of preparation were enough, whether we can truly help other civilizations avoid the traumas that marked our own ascension to the stars. The chamber fell silent as the implications hung in the air. Humanity had achieved things that even they sometimes struggled to comprehend. Mastery over space, time, and the fundamental forces of reality itself. Yet their greatest experiment had nothing to do with physics or engineering. It was about understanding the delicate process of civilizational growth and finding ways to nurture it without destroying what made each species unique. We should prepare for their decision, Admiral Zhao said finally. Either way, the galaxy is about to become a very different place. The question is, are we ready for what comes next? As the Council of Observation began discussing the contingencies they had spent centuries preparing for, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of profound satisfaction. Project Legacy was more than just an experiment. It was humanity's attempt to be the guardians they wished they'd had during their own journey to the stars. The Great Game. The Galactic Confluence Chamber had never been so full. Representatives from 12 different species who had believed themselves to be among the most advanced civilizations in known space sat in stunned silence as they processed what they had just learned. Each had recently discovered the truth about humanity's technological masquerade, and each had been invited to this unprecedented gathering. Ambassador Vexthor of the Sarkians looked around the chamber, his crystalline form reflecting the anxious energy that filled the space. The Meridians with their plasma-based bodies, the silicon-structured quantum collective, the energy beings of the Helios Confederation, all species that had, until recently, thought themselves near the peak of technological achievement, all now grappling with the same revelation that had shaken his own civilization. Admiral Zhao stood in the center of the chamber, her form simultaneously present and somehow existing elsewhere, a casual display of technology that made even the most advanced quantum physics look primitive. "You all have questions," she began, her voice carrying to each species in their native form of communication. "We're here to answer them." "Why us?" The question came from the Meridian representative, their plasma form swirling with complex emotions. "Why reveal yourselves to all our civilizations within the same temporal period?" "Because you're all connected," Zhao replied, gesture summoning a holographic display that mapped the complex web of relationships between their civilizations. "Each of you has been observing younger species, just as we observed you. Each of you has been carefully considering how to guide their development. You're ready to understand the responsibility that comes with technological superiority." The chamber erupted in overlapping communications as each species processed this information. The humans had been watching them watch others, conducting a vast multilayered experiment in civilizational development. But the implications. The quantum collective's representative vibrated at frequencies that conveyed deep disturbance. "Every technological breakthrough we thought we achieved independently was your own," Zhao interrupted firmly. "We never interfered directly with your development. We simply created conditions where you could advance naturally while believing you were among the most advanced species in space. Think of it as a controlled experiment in civilizational evolution." Vexthor's crystalline form pulsed as understanding dawned. The isolation, the belief in our own superiority, it was all part of the experiment. "Yes," came a new voice as Dr. Marcus Chen stepped into the chamber, his presence somehow both physical and digital. "We learned from Earth's history that civilizations develop differently when they believe they're at the forefront of advancement versus when they know they're hopelessly outmatched. We wanted to understand how species would develop without the shadow of an overwhelmingly superior civilization looming over them." The holographic display shifted, showing thousands of younger civilizations at various stages of development. Some were just discovering electricity. Others were taking their first steps into space. All were being watched, studied, and subtly guided by multiple layers of more advanced species. "And now," Zhao continued, "you faced the same choice we faced centuries ago. Will you join us in maintaining this great experiment? Help guide younger civilizations while hiding your true capabilities? Or will you choose to continue on your own paths, armed with the knowledge that there are heights of technological achievement you haven't yet imagined? You're offering us a place in this masquerade." The Helios representative's energy form flickered with interest. "We're offering you a chance to become guardians," Marcus corrected, "to help ensure that each civilization has the chance to develop naturally, to find their own path to the stars without the crushing weight of knowing just how far they have to go." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Each species had to grapple not only with the revelation of humanity's true capabilities, but with their own role in this vast cosmic experiment. "There's more," Zhao added, her expression serious. "We've detected signals from beyond the galaxy's edge. Something is coming. Something that makes our most advanced technology look primitive in comparison. We've been preparing for their arrival for centuries, and that preparation includes ensuring that younger civilizations have the chance to develop the resilience and innovation they'll need to face what's coming. The revelation sent new waves of shock through the chamber. The masquerade wasn't just an experiment in civilizational development. It was preparation for a threat none of them had known existed. "How long do we have?" Vexthor asked, his crystalline structure vibrating with concern. "Decades, perhaps centuries," Marcus replied. "Long enough to continue our work, to guide more civilizations to the point where they can join our efforts. But not so long that we can afford to waste time. And if we join you?" The Quantum Collective's representative pulsed with curiosity. "What then?" "Then we show you what we've really achieved," Zhou said, her form briefly shifting to reveal capabilities that made their earlier demonstrations look trivial. "We show you how to maintain the masquerade, how to guide without interfering, how to prepare for what's coming while ensuring each civilization has the chance to develop its own unique response to the challenges ahead." The representatives looked at each other, each processing this information through their own cultural and technological frameworks. They had come to this meeting expecting answers about humanity's deception. Instead, they had found themselves offered a place in something far larger, a multi-species effort to shepherd the galaxy's development while preparing for an unknown threat. Evolution's children. In the depths of intergalactic space, at a facility that existed partially outside normal spacetime, representatives from the 12 most advanced known civilizations gathered to witness humanity's final revelation. The chamber they occupied was unlike anything they had seen before, a space where the laws of physics themselves seemed to be more suggestions than rules. Admiral Zhao stood at the center, but she was different now. Her form shifted between states of matter, simultaneously physical and energy, present and distant, a living demonstration of what humanity had truly achieved. "What you're about to see," she began, her voice reaching each species in ways that transcended normal communication, "is why we maintained the masquerade for so long. Why we needed to ensure that civilizations could develop naturally, finding their own paths to advancement." With a gesture that bent reality itself, she activated a viewing portal that stretched across the cosmos. The assembled representatives watched in awe as the true extent of human civilization was finally revealed. Not just the millions of hidden installations they had discovered earlier, but entire galaxies of development that existed in parallel dimensions, in folded space, in realms of existence that their sciences hadn't even theorized were possible. Humanity, Dr. Marcus Chen explained, his form similarly transcendent, didn't just advance technologically. We evolved. We became something else entirely. But we remembered our history, remembered how the shock of overwhelming advancement could shatter a civilization's development. The viewing portal shifted, showing scenes from Earth's past. Civilizations collapsing upon contact with more advanced societies, cultures losing their way when confronted with technologies they weren't ready to understand. Then it showed something else. The signals from beyond the galaxy's edge that had first alerted humanity to what was coming. "They call themselves the Transcended," Zhao continued, her expression grave. "They're what happens when a civilization achieves godlike technological power without maintaining their connection to their origins, without remembering the importance of natural development and cultural identity." The portal showed vast entities of pure energy and thought, beings that had long ago abandoned physical form, and with it, any understanding of or empathy for developing civilizations. They moved between galaxies, caring little for the younger species they encountered, seeing them as little more than cosmic background noise. "This is what we've been preparing for," Marcus said. "Not just the Transcendent's arrival, but the moment when our galaxy would need to choose its own path of advancement. We maintained the masquerade not just to study you, but to ensure that when this moment came, we would have allies who understood the importance of balanced development." Vexthor's crystalline form pulsed with sudden understanding. "You're not just offering us a place in your experiment. You're offering us a chance to help define the galaxy's future." "Exactly," Zhao nodded, her form momentarily solidifying. The transcended represent one path of advancement. Pure technological progress without regard for cultural evolution or the development of younger species. We chose a different path. We learned to transcend our physical limitations while maintaining our connection to our origins, our understanding of the importance of natural development. The chamber filled with new data streams as humanity shared the true depths of their knowledge. Not just advanced technology, but a fundamental understanding of existence itself that merged science, philosophy, and cultural development into something entirely new. Each of your civilizations, Marcus explained, has developed unique approaches to understanding the universe. The Sarkians' crystalline technology, the Meridians' plasma-based consciousness, the Quantum Collective's silicon mesh mind. These aren't just different technological paths. They're different ways of perceiving and interacting with reality itself. And that diversity, Zhao added, is our greatest strength against the transcended. They see one path to advancement. We see infinite possibilities, each valuable, each worth preserving and nurturing. The assembled representatives watched as humanity demonstrated what they had achieved, the ability to exist across multiple planes of reality, to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe, to transcend the very concepts of space and time. But unlike the transcended, they had maintained their understanding of the importance of natural development, of cultural identity, of the unique paths each species could take to reach the stars. The choice before you now, Zhao said, her form shifting through states of matter like waves on an ocean, is greater than simply joining our masquerade. We're asking you to help us guide the galaxy down a different path of advancement than the transcended, to help us prove that a civilization can achieve godlike power without losing its soul. The chamber erupted in overlapping communications as each species processed this final revelation. They had come seeking answers about humanity's deception and found themselves offered a place in something far greater, a multi-species effort to shepherd the galaxy's development while preparing for a confrontation with beings who represented a fundamentally different philosophy of advancement. And the younger civilizations, the Meridian representative asked, their plasma form swirling with complex emotions. All those species we've been watching. They are our future, Marcus replied simply. Each one represents a unique path of development, a new way of understanding and interacting with the universe. Our role, humanity's role, and now perhaps yours, is to ensure they have the chance to find their own way to the stars, to develop the resilience and innovation they'll need when the transcended arrive. As the representatives began their discussions, making the choice that would define their civilization's futures, Admiral Zhao looked out at the vast expanse of space-time visible through the viewing portal. Somewhere out there, the transcended were approaching, bringing with them a philosophy of advancement that saw younger civilizations as irrelevant. But here, in this chamber, something else was taking shape. An alliance of species committed to proving that true advancement meant maintaining connection to one's origins, understanding the value of natural development, and recognizing that the path to the stars could take infinite forms, each one valuable, each one worth preserving. It was, she reflected, the ultimate vindication of humanity's long masquerade. They had hidden their true nature not out of fear or deception, but out of a deep understanding that true power came not from technological advancement alone, but from the wisdom to use that power in service of something greater than themselves.